Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the HCS source. Man, it feels good to be home. Why not be reckless? AK, why not be cast out? Kind of a freaking big deal. If you don't know, now you know. And I'm joined by my man, Active. Tim, why don't you tell him something?
Oh my goodness, it has been forever. It feels like we haven't talked in such a long time. So much has happened.
Feels good to be home.
It feels good, right? Orlando happened, but I mean, today we're going to talk about Worlds. Like, it's such a crazy event to be able to witness. I got to watch it from the stream, and so many crazy things happened. But you know, I missed you, man. I've been really good, but I'm glad the duo is back together. I'm happy about it.
Really glad to be here, guys. Just came back from Worlds. Obviously, it was absolutely crazy. We've seen some upsets, some game fives, and we're going to talk all about that. But right now, I want to talk about what's been going on with you. You can be real. I mean, you can be fake if you want. What's been going on with you since World going into present day? Because it has been a little bit of time.
So since World, if we're talking since Worlds, I think you know, things have kind of been on the downward, you know, slope where, you know, things are starting to slow down a lot. The stream, honestly, it's been a little bit of a tilt to whirl. You know, game matches have been a little bit tilty to play, but trying to, like, you know, focus on not tilting too much during my matches. It's been tough, man. But you know, with that winter update coming around the corner, and I think it's like 6 days, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the future of the winter update. I'm looking forward to the future of, you know, season 2 in general. So very, very excited for that. I'm ready to dive into it and get back on the train because I feel like I've been off the train since Orlando, to be honest.
Yeah, but we talked about it, man. That post, that post, like, event stress, be hitting hard, and especially after Worlds with such a little bit of a downtime right now, it seems a little bit weird. You know, I've been playing matchmaking a lot. I've been doing my thing and whatnot, trying to create content and doing it. But as of right now, it feels like we're all waiting for something to come, and I feel like that November 8th update is going to be, you know, we've seen about the weapon balancing, we've seen about, you know, obviously new content coming in and refreshing it. Just to click that update button, and I have a slow internet, so I'm probably have to wait like a good hour, 2 hours, but just having to wait that 2 hours for the update to go through before I'm able to play the game, I'm actually excited to do that. As weird as it sounds, I feel like we've been waiting a long time for this major update, and the winter update is here. Really excited about that. Yeah,
winter update's going to be really cool. I was looking through some of the balance changes today. Like, I you know, they finally mentioned mouse and keyboard. It's taken them forever, but they finally gave us like a little paragraph.
Let's go.
They nerfed battle rifle just a bit in terms of magnetism and stuff like that, so that's even cooler. So like, it looks like things are starting to trend upwards for the keyboard and mouse side of things, and of course with Forge coming, me and you are going to be playing Octagon every single day. I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm excited about all of it. I am truly excited. You know, between the commando buff, the disruptor getting a couple extra shots in it, the pulse carbine, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I don't want it to be overpowered, but you know what? It wasn't meant to be like a long range weapon. Give it a little bit of close range something. Let's make sure it's not overpowered. I feel like the plasma pistol has always been underwhelming, so I'm getting really excited about that. I noticed it's a little bit device when it comes to snap sliding and whatnot. I'll be honest with you, I can't snap slide anyways.
Me neither.
And to be honest, not many people can, so I haven't made a big deal about that, but I don't want to alienate a large part of the movement community, like the Bubbas and the Milky Ways, so you know, I'll defer to them when it comes to that. But as far as the overall 98.9910 Q%, I'm about it, y'all. I'm so about it, and I'm so excited. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Maybe we'll talk about that more next week. What we're here to talk about is the Halo World Championship at Seattle. It was so exciting, Tim. You guys see, I didn't get the chance to watch a lot of the matches. Obviously, I'm sure your eyes were glued to the screen, and rightfully so. Tell me a little bit about the journey that you went through as you know, on the spectator side. Excuse me. Sorry.
All right, so my journey was really interesting. I was able to be very biased during my watching period, and I could say what I wanted. I could cheer for who I wanted. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what I said or who I cheered for or anything like that. I was calling people bad. Like I was doing what I wanted because I had to. Like this was my moment. I didn't get to go to Worlds. I didn't get to cast Worlds, obviously. So when I was on my stream, man, I was just going off. And of course, my teams changed multiple times. Okay, obviously I wanted Sentinels to win, and then all of a sudden I wanted FaZe to win, and then at the end, Cloud9 and OPTIC, I was back and forth. Whoever was losing, I wanted them to win. So
you just needed to stop rooting for teams at that point. Like maybe the reason why Sentinels didn't hit the place they wanted was because you rooted for G1.
Yeah.
When you rooted for G1 in the beginning.
With how they performed, maybe I did. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, dude. I don't know what the heck happened at G1, man. I was very shocked. I was in shock for G1. We'll talk about them a little bit, but I just want to quickly give a congratulations to OPTIC. I mean, constantly. And you, I'm gonna be honest, Tony, you defended them for a very long period of time. I was the one calling them the online team, and you kept saying, I don't want to hear this no more. I'm done hearing this. They went to Orlando, they won that. Came to Worlds and proved themselves once again when it mattered the most. I am shut up now. I'm done calling them an online team. They're not. This team is potentially a dynasty here. Like, this could potentially be a dynasty. This team is disgusting, and congratulations to them. They performed their best. We'll talk about. Actually, can I ask you a question real quick? I kind of want to know your absolute favorite moment for Worlds. No, I'm asking you. What was your favorite moment about Worlds? You were obviously there. You could probably feel that energy because I could feel it through the screen. So if I could feel it through the screen, you definitely could feel it there. What was your absolute favorite moment at Worlds?
Damn, there's a lot of moments to choose from. I was very nervous going into Worlds. I've never even attended a World Championship, let alone be able to cast at one. And by the way, you're gonna be with me next year for sure.
Appreciate that, man.
With being as nervous as I was, I always had the mindset of if I look good, I'll project well. When if I look good, I feel good. If I feel good, I'll put on a good performance.
You look so good, dude. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, everyone in my chat was like, oh my word, how could his suit get better? It just got better and better and better every single day. I don't know. But anyway, sorry. You looked good. You look good, man.
Well, that was part of it. I got the chance to trick 100,000 people into thinking I know how to dress, man. I was just combining a shade like gray, white, and black with a pop of color. That's all I did. I tricked 100,000 people into thinking I know how to dress. That was really fun to see all the compliments about me being fashionable when I've never been in my life, which was really fun. I got the chance to. I feel like HCS really trusted me at Worlds. I talked about it a little bit off the screen where I spent all of Saturday on the desk leading up to on the desk doing a little bit of cast. I didn't have a single break on Saturday. Going into Sunday, I was on the desk again multiple times. I even got the chance to be on the desk when Lucy got handed his MVP trophy. I got the chance to talk to Tommy and just ask him a few questions about what it meant to him, and it was really cool to feel like, hey, it's just trust me. I'm no longer just that that wild card, if you will, going into these events. And hey, look, he's been there, he's done that. We're gonna give him a little more responsibility, and I feel like I was able to step into my own personally.
That's awesome.
Coming out personally, I would say Native Red, man. Native Red. I couldn't be biased when I was on camera. Every time I was off of camera, I was rooting for those boys, man. Every kill, I was like, yes. Every death, I was like, oh no, like those are my boys. I literally came up with them. So Native Red, and then finally, I think the actual moment that the best moment of the event was, I casted one match on Sunday. It was the only match I casted, and so it was one and only. And Golden Boy had nothing but kind words to say. Shook my hand, let me sign off, and holding back tears. Somehow I was able to get through that. and it was just incredible. So yeah, those are some of the moments. I would say that was probably my favorite moment, because as you guys all know, Golden Boy is my idol in this scene, both from the tri-state area, both minorities, both coming from similar areas, and obviously I feel like I'm walking very similar shoes, especially with my style of commentary being somewhat similar to his. So being able to work with him and having him sign me off that way, I'd probably say that was my favorite moment. But
awesome.
but enough about me. we gotta talk about the real stars. So why don't we actually get into some of these world's results?
Let's do it
and talk a little bit. I want to start right from the top. I'm thinking we just swap. I do pool A, you do pool B.
Okay.
Pool C, pool D, and if any point in time you got something you need to say, let me know. We'll cut the tape and and you say what you got to say. Starting off with pool A.
Let's do it.
OPTIC Gaming, Native Red, Oxygen Esports, and Complexity. That was that was exciting.
It was.
I felt like this was my pool of death, and it was like nobody thought about it. I'm like, this is my pool of death, because I was out the game of the favorites, but you have Native Red and Oxygen Esports, who either one of them were able to take the number 2 spot. In fact, Native Red beat Oxygen in Orlando, but Oxygen, because of tiebreakers, were able to beat them out for a higher seed. Yep. And then you have Complexity, the ultimate wild card, going in, because we know how good Complexity can be. They've been both of these teams numerous times.
Yeah.
On online competition, so obviously we want to see them translated to LAN, which, unlike OPTIC Gaming, I don't think they were able to do so just yet. OPTIC Gaming able to go through with a 90% win percentage, only losing one match to Native Red. Native Red 3-0 in Complexity, 3-1 over Oxygen Esports. By the way, Collect, which at one point was scrimming and about to play with Native Red until Manny ended up getting released. That was really fun watching Collect versus Native Red, and that was really fun little storyline there. Yeah. And obviously 3-1 in favor of them, and like I said, able to take one game off of OPTIC. It was OPTIC that finished off number 1, Native with that 2-1. Oxygen starting off in the elimination bracket, which we're going to definitely talk about more about them going forward, and Complexity going home a little earlier than expected. You have anything you want to say about that pool A?
So Native Red, right off the bat, I got to talk about them and the fact that, you know what, I thought, and again, this was one of those times where Tim thought something and he was wrong, and you're not going to see that very often, but I thought that Native Red were done. I thought that their top 6 placing at Kansas City or whatever was that the highest they will ever reach, and they got there because of the Kansas City crowd, because of all the hype that was involved in that crowd, and this team is a team that plays off of hype, and then they go and get 3rd at Worlds. Like, never in my mind did I think on the biggest stage, when you have young minds like this, where I wouldn't say they're inexperienced, because they're not inexperienced, but being on that stage with all that pressure is on, and every single position, step matters in your positioning, every single play matters, that they're able to come out with their very aggressive play style and play the best Halo they've ever played. So that's the one thing I want to say about Pool A. Obviously, besides OPTIC Gaming, Native Red, they very much impressed me, because I seriously thought they were at their skill ceiling. They weren't going any further than that, and they proved me completely wrong once again.
Okay, you got some good stuff to say, so I'm just gonna set you up for Pool B too. That was perfect. And I'm gonna go right on there, and I'm gonna issue out an apology, which I already did, but I'm gonna issue out another apology to Native Red, because I was huge on Native Red. Yeah, coming out of Halo 5, going into Halo Infinite, and since then, I switched over to G1 being my ultimate Dark Horse squad instead of Native Red. Yeah. So I pulled back for them a little bit, and it was really cool. And whatever I said about Native Red, I'd never disrespect. I always said out of love. Whenever you saw me be hard on them, it was because not only was it was because my expectations were through the roof, and they'll tell you that themselves. Right. So yeah, I was really proud of the boys, and I'm gonna apologize to them as well, because I had pulled off of them. I'm gonna set you up for Pool B real quick. Cloud9 finish off 3-0, number 1. Gamers first 2-1, able to take Cloud9 to a game number 5, which was huge. And that was really fun to watch. Little did we know that was going to be the peak of their tournament, to be honest with you. But that's for another time, I guess. J-Lings really surprising a lot of people, not only making it out of the play-ins, but even able to beat out Team War for that third place spot. And it was Team War, despite getting 3 wins total, not able to make it out of pool play. Tell me a little bit about Pool B, Tim.
So Pool B, you had Cloud9, which we kind of expected this looking at the pool. G1, like you said, that was the height of their tournament there. They ended up, going 2-1 in their J-Lings. I did not expect that against Team War. I want to say that right away. Team War was one of these teams where I thought that it comes down to that like aggressive emotion that really carries players. And when you have like 2 of the most passionate, energetic players on your team, and Envor and Tony, like I just really thought that maybe this team would kind of catapult themselves into that third place spot. And unfortunately, when the lights shine brightest, they weren't really capable of doing that. And that's unfortunate. But, maybe if they end up sticking together, this was the team that was, the leftovers, essentially. They were the people that no one else wanted that kind of came together. Maybe they stick together and make something happen. But J-Lings coming out when, I thought they were the weakest team in that pool by far. And they proved that was not the case. It ended up making it in third. G1, I'm very disappointed in their performance in this tournament. I know there was some drama on Twitter. I didn't really understand the drama on Twitter. We
didn't get there yet. We didn't get in pool play. They still did good.
True. That is true. Sorry. So this was kind of like what I expected. Looking at Group B, looking at Pool B, this is what I expected. So this, looked good, but obviously the future painted a different picture for me. But anyway, go ahead.
I did pick J-Lings to beat out Team War.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But if you would have asked me before the event, I would have said Team War all day.
Okay.
I got the chance to not only watch J-Lings, but also get, I already knew J-Lings going in were very comfortable on land. We're talking about 4 very experienced players that have been there, done that. And it's not to say that Team War didn't have the talent, but Team War definitely had the talent to win. But J-Lings just had they were comfortable. They were coordinated, they were organized, and getting the chance to just speak with them. I got the chance to interview their coach and even one of the players, Morga. And just they were giving off a winning vibe.
I love that.
I don't know. They didn't seem phased by the moment, but they also seemed determined, not nervous and not giddy and not like it was. I don't know, something about them.
You can tell.
J-Lings to beat them.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked me before the event, I would have went Team War all day. And I think if this happens again, maybe 6 times out of 10, win that.
Yeah.
Going into Pool C, I'm gonna set you up again. Phase 3-0, 9-2 map count, not bad at all. G2 able to pull off the number 2 spot, but it wasn't easy. It's a hard fought battle. They actually went to war with Fnatic. And I want to say, if G2 ended up beating, I want to say 3-1, maybe went to game 5. I don't remember.
3-1. Yeah.
And then TSS not able to get a win. There was a fun situation. I'm gonna pass the mic to you. Let you talk about Pool C. Okay. Tell me a little bit about Pool C and what this meant to you.
I would love to hear that situation. But yes, so Pool C, you obviously FaZe, who obviously performed really well. I would have expected that. I would have expected pretty much everything that happened here, to be honest with you. Fnatic played pretty well. They went 1-2. They ended up making it to, the elimination side. And then G2 kind of impressed me a little bit coming into the pool play because, we always we talked about it often where now that they've had a month practicing with Barcode, how would they perform? And, on Friday, they didn't do too terribly. So nothing really too much to say here. It was pretty much, I expected this kind of to come to fruition the way the placings went. TSS, unfortunately, Ace having a very short Worlds was unfortunate. And I'm sure he's looking for a new team going into the next season, but pretty much expected that to turn out the way it did.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was I was big on Fnatic going into the play-in tournament. When everybody else was going left, I was going right. You know, I feel like a lot of people were comparing them a Fnatic of old, and not giving Suppressed and Arctic, a great duo, by the way, who was the leading force of that duo on Exit, by the way, enough credit. Because Jazero and Septify is an animal.
Yeah.
Jazero and his knowledge for the game is great. And you combine that with Suppressed, a high damage dealer, a formal like steady shot, Arctic who can absolutely make plays. I really like this Fnatic squad going in. And I'm happy they were able to get to get the win. I will say there was a funny storyline there with TSS. You know, they dropped Strobe and Super CC from Fnatic and TSS. Imagine if TSS would have won that matchup, because you know that meant a lot to them. Sadly, it didn't go that way. But I was really big on Fnatic going in. But like you said, I can't really say you're surprised. Or G2, where they would be Fnatic, they're a better team. I think G2 had a puncher's chance against FaZe, and you know, by that I mean T-Rex arms maybe similar to yours, maybe not long reach, but I mean if it connects, sure. But I think it went out exactly the way you would think. Going into Pool D, Sentinels, United, Ascend, and Na'Vi. Sentinels and United, their rematch from Orlando. United were able to pull the first 2 games off of Sentinels. Then Sentinels were able to reverse sweep them to come up with the big win. United and Ascend, a lot of drama there on that game number 5, where allegedly a player on Ascend in that game number 4 during a celebration pulled away some cord or something that created some kind of audio issues. After the series was over, he also brought up that the PC was having issues as well. United supposedly were tied up at 7 apiece, where Ascend stopped playing. And United then go to beat them 50-11. They were instructed to play, and rumor is they were asked if they wanted to replay, and United declined and moved on in that game number 5. Again, rumors, I don't know the full story. And then you have Na'Vi, the number arguably the number 3 seeded team in EU, going up against the number 1, even though Na'Vi would look like the number 1 back in Orlando. Was really excited that 2 EU teams, if you count a United, 3 EU teams matched up in the same exact pool. Tim, I think I set you up pretty well. Tell me your thoughts about all of that mosh posh.
So obviously, you know, when it comes to this, I maybe expected Na'Vi to come a little bit hotter. I with the performance that Ascend had at Orlando, I didn't expect them to. I don't know. I guess you can't really count them out at the end of the day. But, you know, Ascend actually, you know, they play well. They kick Na'Vi out. Na'Vi's going home, unfortunately. Sentinels start off the tournament pretty well. You know, obviously, we always talk about Sentinels having a very slow start to tournaments. This, with the way pool play happened, you know, I thought maybe United would give them a run for their money. But it was, I think it ended up being a 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 there for Sentinels versus United. So Sentinels came out really strong, and to me it was like, okay, you know, Sentinels are in, you know, they're in championship form right now. This is kind of going to be, you know, this is going to be their tournament to once again come through like they did at KC. But obviously, you know, we'll talk about what happened next with that one. With the United and Ascend drama, I don't know the whole story as well. Everyone was asking me my opinion on it. I can't give you my opinion. There's 2 sides to a story always, and I didn't have both sides, so I didn't, you know, make an assumption on that. I wasn't there, I wasn't watching, so. But that was my thoughts on that. Na'Vi came out kind of weak, obviously, at Worlds. 1-3, they got a game on United, but yeah, obviously they end up going home.
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough. I mean, I think that Ascend United matchup was a little bit of a toss-up in my opinion. I think obviously United are the favorites, but I think Ascend were very capable of winning, and I would have loved to see that be an actual competitive Game 5. It's not the time or place, so I'm not gonna dig too much into that. But either way, Sentinels come out with that 3-0 finish. United come out at second place. Ascend still continued their bracket just over towards the elimination side of things. And you know, now we going through all the pools. Obviously, it's just to recap. Their number 1 seeded teams come out of pools were OPTIC, Cloud9, FaZe, and Sentinels. Joining them in the winners bracket side was Native Red, Gamers First, G2, and United. And then starting in the elimination bracket, so only 1 loss took them out, was Oxygen Esports, J-Lings, Fnatic, and Ascend, excuse me, sorry, terrible memory, I apologize. So we're gonna go into the winners bracket. I'll rapid fire round number 1, and I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Okay.
The gaming 3-0 G1 GO. This happened back at during NA Super. I believe they even matched up in Orlando. I could be wrong about that. Excuse me. But I've said it before. G1 is it's a bad matchup for the Guido gets OPTIC game.
Yeah.
Sentinels 3-0 over G2. FaZe 3-2 over United. Game 5. Native Red. I'm gonna check my glasses. Hold on. It gets hard to see because I think we got a typo. Let me get the glasses. Oh yeah, that's right. Native Red 3-2.
Crazy, man.
Over Cloud9. Talk to me about round number 1.
Oh, we got to talk about the C9 Native Red series. The energy that comes off that Native Red roster. Obviously, Cloud9. I don't know. They looked very different. They looked very different on Saturday than they did on Sunday. They did it in Orlando as well. They did the same thing where they come out real slow, and then all of a sudden, what happened? I think Penguin picked it up. But anyway, we won't talk about that yet. I thought Native Red that really gave them that momentum going forward. So I really, I love to see that. I love to see the fact that, Native Red versus C9 Native Red comes out. And then, of course, FaZe versus United. The drama is still going on Twitter right now between Sparty and Ryanoob. Obviously, United did drop their roster, but we'll talk about that next week. We're going to talk about all the changes next week. So make sure you guys tune into that episode next week. But, the Sparty pop-off after that win with, FaZe versus United, it was pretty crazy to watch. Sparty, he had a lot to say, and he made sure to say it. But there was a fist bump at the end, all right? He came around the table. They still were professional. At the end of the day, it's all professionalism. And, that was another crazy one. And, of course, the other two, I pretty much expected that to happen. But Sentinels kind of starting off pretty well on that Saturday.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned, G1 versus OPTIC. I can't be surprised that OPTIC beat them out because it's just a bad matchup. Everything that G1 do, OPTIC do just better.
Right. Yeah.
When they have a leading Slayer, with Lucid versus Boo Boo Dubu, they have that coordination and that communication that you want to see, because G1 play like a team that's well beyond their years. I love that. Just the problem is that every one of G1's strengths is OPTIC strength. Right. It's just a bad matchup for that. And that's honestly how I feel. G2 versus Sentinels. Yeah, I like G2. I really like Sentinels. I don't know what you want me to say about that. All the emotions there. King Nick and Sparty going up against Ryanoob. That's always going to be a good time. Former rivals turned teammates, now rivals again. Enemies on the virtual battlefield. Anytime Ryanoob goes up against Sparty, it's going to be really, really fun to watch. And Native Red just good for them, bro.
Yeah, good for them. That's basically all you can say is good for them, because that was magical.
So excited. I really was so excited to see that happen, especially because Renegade once this is dating back all the way back to Halo 5, back when they were Fung 4. Renegade was their fourth playing in all of the esports arena online tournaments. It was after the tournaments were done and they were just doing random $1,000 tournaments here and there.
Yeah,
it was Renegade that was the fourth for the Fung 4 until eventually Renegade decides to start playing with his team. And then eventually they bring in, I think, Super CC, then Manny, then back to Super CC, and then kind of back and forward as far as that. But it was funny because it always felt like older brother versus the younger brothers kind of thing. So this win, every time Native Red or back then KCP were going to win on it, it just always felt like, okay, cool. They got themselves a win on older brother kind of thing. And they did it again against FaZe. Going into the next round, we have OPTIC Gaming 3-0 Sentinels, a grand finals potential matchup.
Yeah.
Going up into the semifinals for the winner to make it into top 3, and the loser fighting for their tournament life. It was OPTIC Gaming 3-0 over Sentinels. Eventually, Native Red able to pull off another Game 5, back-to-back Game 5 wins in favor of Native Red, this time over FaZe. Tell me a little about round, I guess, technically 3 matchups, technically.
All right, well, number one, I had called this on stream that whoever won this matchup, OPTIC Gaming versus Sentinels, was going to win the whole tournament. And I'm going to be honest with you.
You did this?
Yeah, I guess I did. I guess I did. But I was very, very disappointed in Sentinels. To be honest, if I'm being completely just frank and transparent here, I truly feel like something was wrong with the chemistry, the dynamic of that roster. Something felt so off. Listening to the communication, Frosty was not himself. It was really weird. And, I'm not there. I'm not in their head, so I don't know. I'm just coming from a viewer's perspective watching the games. And, watching Frosty, his communication was lackluster. Like he wasn't himself. His stats also showed the same thing, that he wasn't himself. I think Snakebite was pulling his weight. I think he was doing great. He was doing phenomenal. It's just that the team as a whole just wasn't themselves. Something was off. I don't know what it was. I couldn't tell you. But at the end of the day, OPTIC really once again just proved their dominance, and that was a big match, I think, for them, because OPTIC has struggled versus Sen many times, and this time it was a 3-0, and that is a convincing win going into that winners finals. So congratulations to OPTIC. Of course, FaZe versus Native. I really wanted FaZe to win, and I understand the Cinderella story that was Native, but like FaZe, I said that they would win Worlds back in the day when we first found out that roster. They changed the roster up. It made the roster stronger, and I thought that they would perform, really well here. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And Native ended up riding that momentum from that Game 5 versus C9 into the next series and end up beating FaZe there. So that momentum being such a big factor. It's such a huge thing to be able to beat a team like C9. FaZe is like chop liver at that point. You just on to the next one. You know what I mean? And they proved just that. So
I like playing the host role because I just get to just set you up and then you just knock it down. But I feel like the second time I talk before I lead into the next, I feel like I have to give my opinion.
No, do it up. Yeah, I like your opinion.
I mean, OPTIC Gaming are damn good. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I would use the word disappointed, but I mean, I think it's a good word to use when describing Sentinels versus OPTIC Gaming, because I'm not saying that Sentinels have to win this every time in the semifinals. I think that's diminishing what OPTIC Gaming have been able to do up until this point. Again, able to win Orlando. Yeah. Let's not forget that.
Right.
But I think you got to take a game off them.
At least.
I think, I would love to see this go to a game number 5, but at a minimum, I got to see at least one game, and we didn't see that. I know OPTIC are dominant. I know OPTIC were the best team in the league, but if there was any team that, had, one of the best chances to beat them out, honestly, I was giving it to Sentinels over Cloud9. Yep. I was. Yep. So either way, OPTIC 3-0 sweep. Going into that next matchup, Native Red able to beat out FaZe in the Game 5 again, going at older brother Renegade, going at their former teammate in King Nick, because let's not forget that King Nick was playing on this Native Red roster, traded for Manny at one point. So I think that was kind of fun, and no bad blood there, but just who made the better decision there, kind of thing, if you will.
Right.
A fun jab, if you will, and I obviously worked in favor of Native Red, and I'm gonna go out on a limb. And you're gonna say I'm crazy. You're gonna say I'm crazy. I know you are, but if the winners bracket finals was played on Saturday night, I think Native Red beat out OPTIC Gaming 3-1. I know I said don't he just say some crazy stuff. He loves his hot takes or whatever. I legitimately feel that way. If Native Red were so hot on Saturday night, if they play that freaking matchup, I swear they win, Tim. I'm not even joking, bro. There's a parallel universe out I saw with my own eyes. Doctor Strange let me see a peek into it. It was me and Spider-Man, man. We were looking. And Native Red not only won it, but they 3-1 them. OPTIC won the first game. Native won the next 3 in a row, shut them out, sent them down to elimination bracket. I saw it with my own eyes. It was in a parallel universe. We're Universe 1A. It was literally all the way in Universe 19B. Exact parallels to what we're going through right now.
I
saw it.
So I was actually kind of on board, like not on board with you, because I still think you're crazy, but I'm all about the mental, right? And if I'm really thinking about this, coming off a Game 5 win versus C9, then coming off a Game 5 win versus FaZe, then going into OPTIC, yes, I can see a world where you said 3-1. You lost me when you said that OPTIC won the first game. Because in my eyes, with OPTIC winning that first game, that momentum is done. Like, that's all. It's over. Now, if Native were to win too,
they're a good Slayer team now. They're a good Slayer team.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, but like, I can definitely see that momentum literally snowballing into that next series versus OPTIC, and maybe they put up a chance. I don't know if OPTIC lose. If I was to give you I'll toss you a bone, maybe 3-2 Native OPTIC win. That's what I would say. Maybe I
saw it with my own eyes, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
But OPTIC were
Dr.
so
Strange,
good,
let me take
man.
a peek.
Like OPTIC were so good. Like they like what killed me about them is it took one tournament, and it was Tony. What did I say at Orlando? And we saw this in the documentary. I said when they beat FaZe in that game 5 at Orlando, and they were down 11 kills. Okay. That's when OPTIC changed. I said it. And in their documentary, they said that exact same thing. They said this was the game of the tournament. I called it. That changed that team forever. And then winning Orlando, obviously, and then now going to this tournament, they're unstoppable. Like, I don't know. This break is all that's going to stop them. Anyway, but I'm getting too far into this. But yes, I could definitely see that happening. But anyway, go ahead.
Native Break is sent to elimination bracket, so we'll change our sites to elimination bracket as well. We'll go all the way to round number 1. I'll go again, set you up with round number 1's Fnatic 3-2 over G1. Oxygen Esports 3-2 over G2.
Oh man.
J Links 3-2 over E United. No, I'm joking. E United 3-0 J Links and Cloud9 3-1 Ascend. Talk to me about round number 1.
I got a DM from I DM'd Kojo. He is the manager of Fnatic, and said and like congratulated him, and he said some choice words about G1, but I'm not gonna repeat them on stream. It was about G1's management. But regardless, wow. Fnatic really surprised me. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was very surprised at that. We talked about G1 all the time. We've talked about them constantly. Them being that team that, at the Super, they peaked really hard at the Super. Maybe, in Orlando, I forgot what their placing was at Orlando, but it wasn't incredible. And then kind of coming into Worlds where, we expected, that work to come into play. Like I thought they were the hardest working team in the league. Like, they've got this great org that's behind them. They've got an org that really cares about its players. Switch got that LASIK. It was a lot of good stuff happened for this roster, but nothing clicked. You can't lose against Fnatic. Like, this is a team that just came together. That played through play-ins, right? Like, you can't let that happen, in my opinion. Like, I didn't expect it at all. I don't think anyone did. Oxygen coming out, really, really happy for Collect. Coming through here, beating G2. Like, the guy was a last-minute add to the roster. Obviously, he fit this roster phenomenally somehow. Like, this is one of those, like, these eclipse moments where they're very rare, but you pick up a teammate that, it just gels instantly with your team, and Collect was that player. Hopefully he has a future. I don't know if it'll be on Oxygen, but I know he has a future. That play, he's disgusting. He just, couple little, fixes here and there with discipline, and he'll be amazing. So nothing really to say about the other two. We expected the other two to pretty much happen, but yeah, those first two were definitely a surprise for me.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely upset city. Obviously there's some stuff going on with G1. We'll talk about that a little bit next week. G2 getting beat out by Oxygen Esports. G2 were not happy about that. G2 honestly thought that they were the favorites going in. I think a lot of people might agree that they were the favorites going in, or at least capable of winning this matchup. And Oxygen able to come out bigly. And able to really step into their own. So it was huge for Oxygen. I got the chance to talk to Adam, the owner of Oxygen Esports, at the event, and he was ecstatic. The dude was probably just as excited about it, about his team, and not just legit, like, oh yeah, we did good. Like, no, like there was a sparkle in his eye, like, those are my boys right there.
That's awesome.
And he knew the impact of that win and what that meant going forward, because obviously they go into round number 2. I'm gonna set you up for this one. Oxygen 3-1 over Fnatic. C9 3-0 over E United. Oxygen Esports again riding that momentum off of the G2 upset, able to get a dominant win over Fnatic. And then Cloud9 EU United getting their rematch from Orlando Pools, where EU United were actually able to get the win on Cloud9 back then, but Cloud9 getting the revenge in a 3-0 fashion, sending EU United home, Snip3down's last tournament in Halo.
Yeah, that's a good point too. His last tournament in Halo, Snip3down retiring from Halo, moving over to Apex. He'll regret that. He'll come back. Don't worry. Sorry, I'm still salty about it.
No,
I'm still salty about it. Like I love Apex, but Snip3down and Halo are literally peanut butter and jelly. It's sad to see. Anyway, understandable though, completely, and I really am excited for his future. But anyway, Fnatic versus Oxygen. You know how you talk about OPTIC Gaming and G1 kind of being, OPTIC Gaming being the better G1, like they do everything that G1 does but better. That's how I see Oxygen and Fnatic. Well, that's how I saw them on Saturday. I saw that, Fnatic's this very aggressive roster. They've got a lot of individual skill. They kind of overwhelm with their pressure, but Oxygen did it so much better, but they were a lot more structured. And it was great to see. This was the best I've ever seen Oxygen play. It was actually incredible to see that they 3-1 Fnatic. I in my eyes, like this was a big statement. And the Oregoner being happy, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love to see that. When it comes to C9 and E United, this was the moment Cloud9 woke up. Like I said, they started really slow in pool play. I mean, they still ended up doing well, but coming into losing against Native Red, I was like, what the frick is going on? Native Red is obviously all very hot after that. They go on to beat FaZe, whatever, but I didn't expect Native Red to lose to Cloud or to win against Cloud9. So them coming here against E United, 3-0ing E United here, this was the start of the statement. This is where Cloud9 are like, okay, we're done sleeping. It's time to wake up and actually play the tournament. And, everyone started performing really well. This is also where I believe, I would say that Bound he finally found where, like, I don't know how to really explain this, but basically Renegade played a role on this Cloud9 roster where everyone kind of played around Renegade. They set him up. They made him look really good. Renegade looked really good because of Cloud9 and the way they played around him. And now I feel like Bound has entered that role. And I feel like Bound is no longer the Renegade replacement. I feel in Orlando, it was kind of the same thing in a sense. But here, I feel like he really kind of solidified himself. He's Bound. He's their fourth, and he's not being compared to anybody else. He's his own person. And he started to really slay out here. He started to really play that, that aggressive flank type role that, he does so well at, that like scrappy movement, crazy movement type role. And that's where we kind of saw the start of it against the United. So that was a big series for me.
It was a good series. It was a good series all around. I think Oxygen Esports, I really like what they bring to the table. I got the chance to sit down with Coach Trey Try and just pick his brain. And I sat with him for quite a bit of time, and just his advanced understanding of what film review is and how to approach it, how to approach the game and the mental side of things. I sat down and just talked to him. I love that for a good amount of time, and I gained. I already liked the guy, but I gained just such an even newfound appreciation for what he brings to the team. And not many times will I really give coaches their real shine. Yeah. I got to sit down. I got to talk to him whatnot and see what they do and whatnot. But I will definitely give Trey Try the real shine. He's the real deal. Love that. And big ups to Oxygen Esports, able to beat out Fnatic. They earned the right to play against FaZe. Cloud9 3 over E United. I like E United. I like Ryan Noob. I like Snip3down. I love Rain. Love Suspector. I really like this squad. So I wanted to see them pull off an upset. I wanted to see them to go further. And they had a bad matchup against FaZe, and they got a good win over Jay Lings, but sadly just ran into Cloud9, and Cloud9, second best team in the world. What are you gonna do? Going into round number 3 of the elimination bracket was FaZe 3 over Oxygen Esports. I got a chance to cast this very matchup, and Cloud9 versus Sentinels, both of them 3-0s. By the way, I think you might not have been surprised by one to being a 3-0, which, by the way, Auction Esports played FaZe phenomenally in that 3-0. But Sentinels getting 3-0 swept by Cloud9, what once was a grand finals matchup, Sentinels getting their lowest placing at Worlds, the tournament that matters most. Tim, talk to me.
Didn't expect it, man. I was, this is where I remember I told you I was able to watch from my stream so I could have bias if I wanted to. I was so biased this entire series. And like
did you have a Sentinels jersey on?
Yeah, I did not, but I should have freaking marked it on my forehead. That's how bad it was. Like, but I could do that. Hey, you know what? I'm like, I'm not at Worlds right now. I could do whatever I want, so I'm gonna do that. Right? I'm gonna do it. And yeah, I was so biased the whole time. My chat was getting mad at me because I was like, okay, they're down 2-0. They can still win this. This is Sentinels. It's 100% them. They got this. Nope. I don't know what happened. I talked about this before. I kind of want to watch Worlds back because I really think like there's a lot of stuff that like kind of slipped by and I kind of want to like overanalyze some of these matches, but the communication is just that fire wasn't there. Remember in Kansas City, we had someone on Sentinels barking. World 2 was like that was not the case at the most important tournament in the entire
That's why
season.
They lost. There was no barking.
There was no barking. That's why they lost. No, but what I mean is like the urgency, I don't know how to explain it, and maybe it'll sound bad if like, you know, the team is listening to this, if Sentinels are listening to me talk about this, but like as a viewer, I just didn't, something was way off and I don't know what it was. I don't know what caused it to happen. You know, they rebounded from the biggest mental hurdle, I would say in their time, in their tenure. And that was, you know, potentially or the rumor that Lethal was going to get dropped, but he ends up sticking on the team. Like if I was Lethal, that would affect me for a while, but they showed their professionalism, came to KC and won the freaking event. Like, you know, they are the strongest mental team, in my opinion, in the league still. And they did not show that here at all against Cloud9. Cloud9 decimated them. And it had to do with, I really think, like, Bound's newfound kind of comfortability with this roster. I don't know what happened. I heard rumors of this roster not getting along together, C9 that is, and whatever, even with the change, you know, not getting along, blah, blah, blah. But that wasn't the case here. They really found their own. Bound really found his footing, and they put the pedal to the metal when it mattered the most. And Sentinels ended up going down. And, you know, didn't expect that. Like you said, their lowest placing yet, 5th, 6th is not what you expect out of a Sentinels roster, especially with them winning KC. It's not like they, you know, didn't win any lands this year. They won KC, and, you know, Orlando was rough, but you expected at Worlds that they'd come back swinging, and they didn't.
It was funny because I had this idea of I went to the FaZe booth and I went to buy a FaZe jersey while I was already out in Worlds, and I didn't have any jerseys. So I wanted to buy a T-shirt, and they said, "Hey, don't worry, we know who you are. Don't worry, we're not going to charge you." They gave me this awesome. For free. Gave me the T-shirt for free. It's awesome, but it really messed up my plan. So my plan was. One of two things was I was going to have the talent coordinator toss me the shirt after the series is done. Don't know who wins, don't know who loses. If FaZe win, I show it off. I start dancing FaZe up all day. If FaZe lose, I slam it against the ground and step on and make this huge performance on if FaZe were to lose that matchup against Auction Esports. And it made it very hard because if I bought it,
right,
that would have been acceptable.
Right.
If I got it for free and I throw it on the ground and step on it, would have looked really bad on my part. So I was very happy that FaZe won that matchup.
That's
for
awesome.
That reason.
Love that.
Meanwhile, Cloud9, it's very easy for us to underappreciate Cloud9 because we see them the least.
Okay.
I see Lucid's face all over the place. I see Formal's face all over. Everybody on OPTIC Gaming streams, and they do it consistently, multiple times a week. I see them all over the place. They're top of Twitch. Sentinels, Frosty and Snakebite are always streaming. We rolled 2 streams a little bit, streams a little bit as well. And Lito has had this very long, illustrious career, where he's sarcastic, he's funny. Like we've seen his face a lot.
Right.
I can go into phase. Sparty, the ultimate villain, Renegade. He was the face of Cloud9 for a while. I see all these other players and teams, but when it comes to Cloud9, they do their own thing.
They're quiet.
We don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it makes it easier for us to underestimate them based on the fact that they move in. What did Lil Wayne say? Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Like they're lasagna. They're Cloud9 lasagna. like you don't hear a peep. It's crazy to me. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's so easy for us to undervalue them, because we just don't see them as much. But time and time again, Cloud9 show us that they're the freaking real deal. And just like Sentinels have done time and time again on Championship Sunday, just like OPTIC that done, they get better when the lights are brightest.
Right.
And they step it up another gear on Champ Sunday. Simple as that. Like Cloud9, you can never ever count them out, especially when it comes to LAN tournament play. And a 3-0 over Sentinels was that was a statement right there. You said it when they beat out United. That was the start of them, coming into that championship form. And I feel like Sentinels, that was the statement. Like if United was the start of the sentence, the Sentinels, that was the period. That was the exclamation point. You know what I mean? Like that was it. Ain't no question about it. Because in round in the semifinals, I believe it was, they were able to 3-1 phase Cloud9, move forward to go up against Native Red in the losers bracket finals. Talk to me.
Native Red. This is where it all ends for them, unfortunately. I mean, you can't. What are you gonna do? You're going against a team that has never placed outside of the top 2. Like, what do you do? Right?
They beat them in the winners bracket. They beat them.
But then again, we talk about the lights when they're the brightest. This is when it matters the most. You beat Cloud9 right now. You beat them. You beat them obviously in round number 1, but you beat them right now. I mean, you send them home. And we're talking about 2 hungry beasts that want a piece of that steak, and Cloud9 get it every time. Because Native Red, they've got some young players on the squad in terms of mentality, in terms of being under those lights, in terms of being in this position, this championship position that cannot change. Yes, obviously, with more experience and more tournaments under the belt and more situations like this where, they're in a losers final. Like, okay, this is where it all matters the most. Then over time that they can bring their best game forward here. But in a situation like this, when you're playing a team that's never placed outside of the top 2, you did beat them before in a 3-2 fashion. You know that they weren't playing very well. You look at the bracket, you see United 3-0, Sentinels 3-0, you 3-1 to face. You're next. At this point, you just know you're next. Bound really, like I said, really found his footing. It was great to see. I think this roster stays together. They have a really good. I mean, they have a good future already. They're never placing outside of top 2, but that they could potentially start winning again. We could potentially see them start winning again, which would be great, because I took them out of the conversation, to be honest. When Renegade left, I'm like, okay, this team's not the same. Like, this isn't the same. But like I said, Bound fills those. Bound is the shoes. Like, there's no more. I talked about it so much. Can Bound fill the shoes of Renegade? Can Bound? No. Like, Bound has it takes time to build that chemistry where you're able to, all of Cloud9, Stellar, Eco, Penguin are all able to play around Bound to understand how he plays, to understand his nuances. It takes a lot of time. And it takes even more time to understand the way he plays in a situation where, you're in a tournament that is the biggest tournament of the season for $400,000 first place. Like, it takes time to understand these things. And I think Cloud9 is finally found it. They found that little divot, and they're going to be in it for a while. I hope they don't do any team changes. I don't think they will. I think they're pretty solidified. Like you said, they're quiet, so no drama involved here. Just putting their heads down and getting to work. You hear Bound on his streams. He's always very troll. He talks about how much he hates the game or whatever. But when it comes to business, business is business. And yeah, I mean, I was definitely. It's crazy to see, but Native Red was just the next one in line to get the beating.
Yeah, like you kind of said, Cloud9 able to 3-1 over FaZe, and Eco getting his revenge over Renegade was kind of like that Xbox showcase that kind of put up Eco and Renegade against each other, which was really good. I want to go back and watch that because that was really good.
I gotta watch that, yeah.
But yeah, Cloud9 get the revenge off of Renegade for leaving, and then going in. I don't know. I'm assuming Penguin was cheating. I don't know how they beat Native Red. It doesn't make any sense to me.
He played phenomenal.
I'm assuming there's foul play. Penguin, I'm on to you. But Cloud9 able to 3-0 Native Red, despite Native Red knocking them to elimination bracket to begin with. Back-to-back huge wins led to C9 4-1ing OPTIC Gaming in the first bracket, resetting the bracket. By the way, Cloud9 able to pull off that 4-1, and then eventually OPTIC Gaming 4-0 sweep in the secondary reset of the bracket at Worlds to become your world champion. OPTIC go back-to-back. Tim, talk to me about this grand finals.
All right, so this was an interesting one for me. I mean, C9 came out so very hot, and you started to see with OPTIC that that discipline that they worked so hard on to make sure that they really perfected for Orlando, and their discipline all throughout the winners bracket, like it was there. Like they weren't making sloppy plays. They weren't being too aggressive. They weren't mispositioning. They weren't going for stupid things, kills that they shouldn't go for, etc. It was great. But then when they get to the grand final, it's a very different OPTIC game. It's almost like C9 kind of caught them off guard, and I got a little scared, to be honest with you. But the minute this series ended, on my stream, you can hear me say it. Actually, I don't think I have VODs on, but on my stream, basically, I said they got to get up and talk right now. Like this before this next before the reset happens, they've got to get up and talk. They have to do it. They all do it. They get up, they go out, they talk, and then right away I'm like, okay, we're back. They came back and they did what they needed to do. That discipline was reinvited into the team, and it just I don't know who said it. I can't wait to watch the documentary. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know what happened, but I know that there was a massive talk in the back there that really brought this team back to the things they've been working on so very long. And that discipline really showed heavy in this grand finals reset. They were a completely different team, but we've got to talk about that. All that being said, very interesting. But Tony, what was the atmosphere in that venue when did you notice that they got up too early? Well, like I noticed it right on stream. I'm like, wait a minute, Cloud9 are in the hill. Like, did you notice that Cloud9 were in the hill at the very end there when they got up and, they were celebrating way too early? What was the atmosphere like in that venue at that moment?
So I didn't notice that that Cloud9 were in the hill. It was a little bit of everybody's fault, to be honest with you. The crowd is yelling 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And then they start cheering. They turn on the OPTIC lights and whatnot, again, ready to start dropping the confetti and whatnot. Yeah. They switch over. So it was a little bit on everybody's part right there. And then you just see APG like,
did you see him? He was so scared.
And they sit down, finish it out, get to the last round. So it was pretty funny, but yeah, it was. I did not see that. It was funny though.
It was like I was just watching. I don't know why my eyes were trained in the bottom of the screen, because I saw a Cloud9 member come flying when everyone got up. I saw him come flying out of tires. And I was looking at the bottom screen.
On the 0 second mark.
Yeah. I was looking at the bottom. I was like, wait a minute. The hill circle is filling up. They're in the hill right now. And then everyone starts dying. And then you see APG. He is literally like a gun is to his head. He is scared crapless, dude. And he tries to sit back down. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If there were 4 me's in OPTIC Gaming, on the OPTIC Gaming team, if there were 4 of me, we would have lost. I'm not kidding. Like, that's one of those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'll freak out. Like, I don't know, maybe
well,
not.
Up by 2 hills regardless. I think it was still like 3-2 when it went to that fifth hill over there. So I actually know it had to be. You have 1, you have 2.
They got 3-2, so they'd have to do another one.
So it's 3-2. Yeah. Actually, if they take that B hill, it's tied up. It's not even. It's a one cap game. Wow.
It's scary. Like I to be honest with you, I thought that was gonna be like a crazy comeback, but you see Lucid. He says it. He said at the interview, he's like, we just had to throw a couple nades and kill him, and then it was over. And then you see him at the end. He goes, ah. He's trying to get all that, but it was a crazy moment, and obviously I wish I was there. Not to bring the vibe down, but I wish I was there because I could see it in everyone, like how big that moment was for for Halo and for everything. Like HCS has always been on top of everything. HCS has always been HCS has just always been on top of things. They've always been at the top. Even with Halo dealing with their stuff, HCS has always been the place to go and has always delivered. And that's the right word, is the HCS has always delivered. And that was kind of the closure of that and an entrance into season 2. So incredible. Like I said, I'm really happy. I'm really happy for OPTIC. I feel like this kind of solidified them, and I'm glad that they were able to close it out in this fashion, and they got their OPTIC necklaces. I think they're worth like a lot of money. I think I heard or something. They weren't expecting them, so that's really, really cool. And of course they got that first place, that trophy. So I think it means a lot to, of course, Lucid and Trippy, who have never won, and now they never won a Worlds, and now they get to. I don't think any of them have won a Worlds. So I think this is the first. No, Formal did, right? Formal won in Call of Duty, but I don't know if he's done it in Halo. Has he done it in Halo?
Good question. I'm not exactly sure.
I know he's done in Call of Duty, but regardless, it meant a lot to all of them. And I mean, it was crazy to watch. Very, very cool.
It was amazing. It was amazing. In fact, I don't think Formal has won a Halo Worlds. This was his first one.
So.
He's now officially a multi-team world champion,
which is so cool.
I always call him a champion, but now he's a multi-game world champion, I should say.
Crazy.
He said if HCS always delivers. I guess we're the mailmen here at the HCS Source, guys. OPTIC Gaming are your world champions, and going into season 2, it's going to be damn exciting to see what goes on and what kind of team changes going in. I wouldn't be surprised if OPTIC and Cloud9 are the only 2 teams that don't change going into season 2, but to be honest, I could see it. Well, even Cloud9 make a change. So roster mania is about to come in full effect. You already know us at HCS Source are going to always have your back. Tim, any final words? Where can the people at home find you?
Just want to say we apologize for not being very, very consistent. I think we missed 2 weeks. Tony's been really busy. I've been really busy. Tony's flying around the world to multiple places, going to different lands and stuff like that. When you have talent like his, you get thrown in different places. So we're going to try to stay consistent with it coming up, in the next couple, obviously the rest of the weeks coming up to season 2. And we hope you guys can tune in. Of course, like I said, like I always say, I should, it'll be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify as well. So you'll see those episodes there. We didn't give up on you guys. Don't worry. We didn't just, stop doing the show. We're back. And we're ready to fill you on the news that happens, especially with Roster Mania. You're going to want to talk to us because Tony's got the inside scoop on a lot of people, and I sometimes have some inside scoops. But we'll definitely catch you guys next time. I'm very excited, but definitely stick to us.
Yeah, guys, that's going to be it for us. Make sure you come back next week. We'll be live again, 10 o'clock at night, every single night, Eastern time. Like you said, follow YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. Yeah, lucky episode 13, and damn, was it a good one. Next week, we're talking Roster Mania.
See you guys later.